If I could, I would learn every language in the world out there. But I don't have the time for that. That got me thinking, what if instead of making extra time to study languages, what if I could use the already existing time in the day that I already spent doing other things and use that in order to make progress in my target language? And voila, my language immersion routine was born. So here's a typical example day of mine where I show you what I do to make progress towards fluency in my everyday life, even on days when I have no time whatsoever. So it's basically for free. So we start right in the morning, and one thing that has really been a game changer for me is to get an internet radio. And as soon as I start waking up, I turn on my internet radio and set it to some radio station from another country where they speak the language that I want to study. Listening to some Portuguese radio, some French stations, or there's this one Russian language station that's actually from Germany, which is really cool because so I can like listen to local news in Russian. It's kind of cool. I can listen to that in the morning while making myself ready for the day. And also, I'm someone who likes reading the news to some extent. And instead of like just reading the news in German or English, I thought like, why not do it in a target language instead? So I would just pull out my phone and go to some international websites. For example, there's here in Germany, we have Deutsche Welle, which is the German international broadcasting service, but they do translate their stuff into every language whatsoever. So I can just read news about Germany, for example, German politics in Portuguese, in Spanish, in French, in English, in Russian whatsoever. And when I'm busy in the morning, there's not that much time to do something. So besides just like getting ready, listen to radio, or just quickly while eating breakfast, checking the news in my target language, I will also, because I will eventually pull out my phone at some point in the day, set my phone's language to my target language. Some critics say that this is useless, but I think like much like digital content and much like digital phrases or like words that we have to use nowadays are something that you really much can learn when you just set your phone's language to your target language. It's not that scary as it sounds, and you will find your way around on your phone quite quickly. When I'm on a commute, I will basically continue this, what I did here. So when I'm, for example, in a train, or even when I'm in a car, usually I thought like, why do I have to? It's so normal to listen to your local radio station when driving somewhere. But who says that I can't listen to other radio stations? Of course, when you have like FM or AM radio, then it's not that easily possible. You do it via your phone with like Bluetooth or like with an aux cable. It's really easy to just continue listen to some radio station across the world when driving, and you can make good use of that time while driving or while getting somewhere to listen to something in your target language. Also, a quick bonus, if you have to use navigation, GPS or so, you can set that as well to your target language. I would kind of like say that you gotta be a little bit more advanced so you don't make a accident or taking the wrong turn. Doing all these things so far, you get really much natural language exposure so far. My days nowadays are filled with three things: uni, part-time job, and YouTube. And whenever I have a break, I talked about this in another video, I don't use social media. I try to waste as little time on digital devices as possible. But I found out that social media, because it's so addictive and there's so much brain rot that is useless, stupid, and pointless, it's still kind of addictive. And if I will just scroll in my target language, then this is like the holy grail to language learning. So what I did is that I downloaded TikTok and have accounts for every language that I study, and I would just like watch like brain rot memes in my target language, which sounds crazy, but it works like wonders. All of a sudden, it becomes so interesting and addictive, and it's really no hassle. It's no chore. It's really not difficult whatsoever to like get some reading done, get some listening comprehension done. And I try to just like do my media consumption in my target languages, because when I eventually learned English years ago, I just started to switch to do everything in English that I do on a normal day-to-day basis. And when after a long day I come home and want to relax a little bit, I follow the same pattern and just do things that I do normally in my everyday life, just in that target language. That means if I, for example, decide to watch a show on Netflix, I try to do that, as you guessed it, in my target language. So for example, recently I watched Lupin, which is a French show, and instead of watching it in English or German or whatsoever, although it's kind of hard for me because there's much colloquial speech, I just did it in French. So my evening relaxation, I can just like binge watch some show or so, but I still have that language exposure. Life hack here is that my main media consumption nowadays is basically YouTube, because I'm a YouTuber. As I said previously, I have multiple YouTube accounts for private like watching videos in every language that I want to study. If you find YouTubers in your target language that you actually want to watch, where it's no chore, where it's no hassle whatsoever, this is a life hack. This is the holy grail, I tell you, because suddenly like language exposure, listening comprehension is like easy. It's addictive. productive and you want to do it. Before bed, when I'm making myself ready and doing some household chores as well, I will pop in my earbuds and listen to some podcasts in my target language. I just, out of curiosity, because I've been to Belgium, try to pick up some Dutch in the Flemish accent and just picked up some podcasts, which I surprisingly could understand a lot from, because Dutch is not that far off from German. I just listened to a podcast while unloading the dishwasher, while vacuuming the floor, etc. And I make use of the time that I already have during the day, where I would just otherwise just listen to music or do nothing at all and just spend it in my target language. When I'm then in bed, I have some books in other languages and, for example, do some reading in target languages. And this is, of course, all of this sounds a lot. You don't have to do all of that, but even if you just do a little bit of that and just include some of these things, you will have free language exposure every day, where you don't have to open a textbook, where you don't have to make extra time, but you use the time that you already have during the day. And there you go, hours of language learning with natural content, basically for free. And as a bonus, if you study languages this way, then you study them basically the natural way, how babies learn, for example, and what many language experts also recommend, which is called the input theory. And if you're interested in learning more about that and finding out what the best, most natural, so to speak, way of learning languages actually is, then make sure to click on this video where I explain what language expert Stephen Krashen recommends, which is the input hypothesis. It basically states that you should learn languages the way babies do in order to make progress towards fluency while surrounding yourself all the time with native content. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure to click on that video. Besides that, thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.